Atlantic City. We're ready for our second match of the afternoon. Scott Haas has a tough challenge against the current 9-ball world champion, Albin Ouschan. We'll join the commentary team now with Nick Shulman and Phil Yates.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, we've just seen the defending champion come through without any great alarm, and you get the feeling we're going to see the same from the reigning world champion, well, 9-ball champion that is, Albin Ouschan, who won his title at Milton Keynes in Middle England back in June. That's his opponent, and boy, what a task for him. So, Nick, do you know anything about Ouschan's rival today?
I'm not too familiar, Phil, but as you said, a tall order indeed.
We've just seen that you can be a really good player at local level and really know your stuff, and then you come up against the top international boys, and playing in front of the TV cameras, in front of a big audience for a massive prize, it can seem as though the game is suddenly a lot more difficult than you might imagine.
Right. I mean, world champion here in Ouschan, and as you said before in the last match, the international 9-ball scene. I mean, it's the US Open, but this is truly a global event. Most of, if not all of the best players in the world are here. So yeah, you can tighten up a little bit playing these guys, but let's see what Haas has.
Yeah, Scott Haas up against Albin Ouschan. Again, it's that David and Goliath kind of syndrome, but you never ever know. By the way, right now the players are given a little bit of time before each match to practice, and that's what we're seeing at the moment. Just knocking a few balls in, getting the cue arm as loose as you possibly can, especially when you're under this kind of pressure. For Scott Haas, it's basically a whole new ball game for Albin Ouschan. It is day-to-day business. So while the referee is putting the balls up, I can tell you we've had some more results come in. Lots of them, in fact. One of Albin Ouschan's fellow Austrians, Maximilian Lechner, has defeated Osiris Crawford by 9 racks to 1. And Brandon Scherf, a really good American player, he's overcome a fellow countryman, Michael Hunter, 9-3. Here's the lag. Ouschan a little hard, but good enough. One more result for you. Roland Garcia from the Philippines has defeated Nick Toraka, 9-2.
Yeah, Garcia's a terrific player.
Other results, Sanyan Polovanovic, who did some commentary with us a little earlier in the season. He's beaten Evan Lunder 9-3. Mohamed Daidat from South Africa, a 9-0 whitewash he completed of Ilya Czerniecki. Wojciech Szewczyk, a really good Polish player, watch out for him. He's beaten Kashtan Keaton 9-3. And Aloysius Schaap, coming off that semi-final in the World 10-Ball Championship in Vegas last week, has defeated Devin Putit 9-5.
Albin Ouschan to break.
Well, Nick, first break and it's dry.
I was thinking the same thing, Phil. And he hit it much harder than we saw Filler was, you know, hitting them responsibly hard as the non-soft break rules are in play. But Ouschan really gave those a whack.
Push out goal.
The balls didn't cooperate. We see a push out here from Haas. Eager to see Ouschan go about his business. Truly one of the best rotation players in the world. Looks like he is accepting. Playing a safety of some sort. Oh, beautifully done there. Was able to hook him on the 7. It looks like Haas will have to kick to the top rail, believe. Maybe he could play some sort of a curve shot where he elevates and uses a lot of left-hand spin to try to curve the cue ball around the 7. Doesn't quite have enough room. Looks like he is going to the top rail.
Extension call.
It does make contact. Beautiful. Was able to just nick the 1 and slide off and leave Ouschan safe. It was very well done there.
Well, the same month that Ouschan was being crowned King of the World, back in June, Scott Haas actually came very close to winning a tournament in Maryland. The Summer Slam it was called. Lost out in the end in the title match to Chris Bruner.
Well, there you go. Looks like he's coming 1-2 underneath. He'll try to just contact the bottom side of the 1 and maybe slide into the 3 and hopefully leave Haas a return safe of sorts. Let's handle that one very nicely there. Little cat and mouse to start things off here.
Must say, what a great atmosphere in here today at the Harrah's Resort. The US Open is like nothing else in the world of pool. And to be this well attended, well supported, and to have this vibe on the first afternoon, I think it tells us a lot about how the week is going to develop.
Yeah, I agree, Phil. US Open, really a prestigious event. Albin, I think, is trying to slice this one in the side. A little trickier than it might look on the screen with these tight pockets. He banks it cross side. Hits it a touch long, and Haas will have a look of sorts, although don't believe the 1 goes by the pink. Into the top left corner, and I'm not sure if it goes by the 8 into the bottom left. So we might have another safety on our hands. Let's see. Sends the 1, comes 1-2 rails. Tried to get him on the 3. Didn't.
Scott, take a shot with you.
The referee is Brendan Moore, who's, much like our first referee, Marcel Eckhart, officiated World Snooker Championship finals at the Crucible. And in fact, Brendan lives and was born and raised in the fine city of Sheffield. Just telling Scott to remove his chalk from the table. Well, it's happened again. I've just had another player come up to me and ask me when he's playing.
I mean, who do these guys think they are, Phil? You know?
I'm not a multitasker. Some people would say I can't do one task, let alone many.
1-2 into the 1, creates some nice separation here. This has been a drawn out safety battle to start things off. It looks like Albin's pulling out that jump cue. We saw Filler handle so nicely in round 1. Well, maybe not. He toyed with it, but put it away. Looks like he's called for an extension. I think he's kicking 2 rails underneath. Oh, beautifully navigated there. This is quite a few innings without pocketing a ball to start off a rack of 9-ball.
Yeah, and I think it makes it even more pronounced, the fact it's the first rack.
Right. 1-2 rails into the 1. It looks like Ouschan will come out the victor of this initial safety battle. Have a great look here. Wants to leave himself an angle on the 2 to be able to come back down for the red 3. That's the main issue with this rack, the 2 to the 3. Maybe a hair steep, but I think perfect to just roll it in and slide between the 6 and the 5. It's got to settle. Or keep going. Looks like he's actually gotten perfect on the 3 in the side. Tapped his chalk a little bit frustratedly. I think he was trying to play the 3 in the corner, but he'll take it. Bit of good fortune. A little bit of early U.S. Open jitters here for Ouschan as he just gets settled in, and nice opportunity for Haas to perhaps strike first. He has some work getting from the 3 to the pink 4. Let's see how he handles this. A little bit thick, Phil, and you don't want to give this Ouschan too many chances.
Yeah, that does not bode well, does it? Can tell you, by the way, that Scott's namesake, Thomas Haas, we don't know whether they're related or not. He's just beaten Shamel Al-Azawi from Iraq, 9-3. And so the significance of that, Thomas Haas will now play the man we've just seen win the first match on this main match table, Joshua Filler, in the first winners round.
Came up a bit short here. Straight would have been ideal to be able to just stop the cue ball. Now I believe he'll have to either go into the rail and bounce out, or roll into the 6 and move it ever so slightly towards the side. Does go with the former and handles it very nicely. Little bit steep, might elect to come 3 rails around, or just use a bit of inside and follow to the rail and out. Does go with the 3 rail route. Very nicely done.
Albin Ouschan wins the rack.
Not entirely error-free from Albin Ouschan, but in the end, quite a lengthy opening rack falls to the man who is fully expected to win this contest. Albin Ouschan leads by 1 rack to 0. That's the decisive 9-ball. These guys do not miss those. Scott Haas has got the look of a country and western star to me. You could definitely see him on the stage at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville or something like that. Right now, though, he's perhaps singing the blues. He had a chance to do what Joseph Blyler did in the first rack of our opening match against Josh Filler and draw first blood, but the chance went a-begging.
Second rack, Albin Ouschan to break, leading 1 rack to 0.
Brendan Moore did a good job there, racking the balls as quickly as possible, but even so, Albin Ouschan looked impatient to get on with the job.
And again, comes up dry, Phil. A fairly ominous start for him. Obviously a contender to win the event. Albin, one of the best in the world, but he'll need to sort of figure out these breaking woes. Obviously, it's early, just his second break of the tournament, but that's twice that he's come up dry. And when we watched Filler earlier, he handled the corner ball just effortlessly, playing position on the 1. So we'll see if he can sort that out as the match goes on. Nice shot there from Haas.
Yeah, with a break, of course, as the tournament progresses, as the week progresses. What might work today might not work tomorrow, but you're quite right. Ouschan's first 2 breaks have not been effective at all.
And that's an excellent point too, Phil. As the week goes on, the equipment changes slightly, the tables get a little bit broken in and so on. I think he does have an angle to bring the cue ball back to about where it is, follow to the rail and over to play position for the pink. That's quite nice there from Haas. This is a touch tricky. I think he wants to just pinch this one back slightly to play the 5 in the side, but a little bit dicier than it looks. Very well done. Should be able to just follow forward to center table or so to handle the 6 where he made the 5. 4 rather, excuse me.
The one thing in these situations, you never want to see the underdog whitewashed. You want to see them have their moment of glory. Oh, but I'll tell you what, he almost missed that 6.
He used the entire pocket there, but she cooperated. And indeed, Phil, you love to see people get their chance. And Haas is no slouch. I mean, we can tell that he's a serious pool player. Well, nice stroke there. Elected to come around as opposed to just pinching it back. Sometimes early in a match you take the longer road traveled cue ball wise just to kind of let your stroke out, loosen up. Does have some work here on the 8 though. He's mulling over how to get position on the 9. Looks like he's going low, trying to draw it back. Oh boy, it's got to settle. This is a tester. Be rolling this one in the side. Cue ball just off the rail. This shot is harder than it looks.
Yeah, especially with the beeps going as the shot clock ran down. He would not be used to that at all. It's discombobulating for the top players, let alone for someone like him who's never experienced it before.
Not only the beeps, but Ouschan just breathing down his neck from the chair. Oh my, Phil. A little bit of sloppiness from the boys here early.
Well, that was a truly incredible miss on the 9. It really was.
Yeah, naturally Ouschan off to a fairly poor start, a few unforced errors and so on. Let's see if he settles in, and this is a tester to say the least for Haas. Well, one thing about world-class type players, generally they don't miss the 9 twice. You know, this shot Ouschan has is difficult, but usually if you give these guys another chance, they start to get dialed right in. Let's see.
Spot on, Nick. Good call. Albin Ouschan, after missing a really easy 9 ball, was able to make amends because his opponent did miss the crucial ball on 2 occasions. 2-0, and he could so easily have been a level board. One has to say, though, in the end, a really good pot on the 9.
That it was, Phil.
Don't know whether he's suffering from jet lag or not quite woken up yet, but the word you used, Nick, was spot on there. Sloppy on the 9, the original 9 ball that Ouschan missed. We could hardly believe it.
Yeah, maybe a little lack of focus kind of thing. He's just sort of getting acclimated to the scene.
With Shaw winning in 2017 and then Filler in 2019, could it be a 3rd consecutive European victory in the US Open? Well, maybe. And Ouschan is one of the main candidates, but he will need to improve on his showing in the first couple of racks. There's no doubt about that. I'm sure he will do.
You saw Filler breaking from the opposite side. Ouschan's gone 0 for 2 as far as pocketing a ball. He's trying to make the 2 ball. The two does find a home here. Fortunately, the 5 nestles in front of the cue ball to block the 1. Probably a push out. He's trying to decide where to leave the cue ball to give Haas a tricky decision.
Push out ball.
Might be pushing to a jump. He is pushing to a jump, so he's sort of...
Yeah, Albin.
And Haas gives it back, which is, as you were alluding to before with Judd Trump and the wherewithal with the jump cue. Albin is certainly a favorite to pocket this, or it's quite close. You cannot allow these guys to have this much wiggle room with the jump cue. Position on the 3 is dicey, though, and it's not like this is preordained, but... Well, perhaps favorite was an overstatement, Phil, and Haas will have ball in hand, so a nice decision for him to decline.
Yeah, one thing you might see with Judd Trump's opponent later on today, purposely pushing out into a jump situation, knowing full well that his opponent, i.e. Trump, isn't going to be all that well acquainted with it. Ouschan is, though, and really, by his standards, he made a mess of that.
Seems like kind of an odd choice to play it in the side as opposed to just the corner from which he's shooting, but yeah, he was playing. He thought the purple 5 was the 2, I believe. It's what he just mentioned to the referee as well. So he does have a look at the 3, but that was why he played the 1 in the side, because he was playing position for the 5, which he thought was the 2. So and unfortunately, he's come up short on the 4. So that was a bit of a mental error there from Scott. Played for the wrong ball with ball in hand, and things have kind of gotten away from him here.
Yeah, those two balls are similar, but they're not identical.
I mean, blue and purple. We gotta almost made it in the side. It does leave Ouschan safe, so well done.
We do have snooker players who are colourblind, which can be a potential handicap. Perhaps the most notable of them is the 2002 world champion, Peter Ebdon, who on many occasions had to ask what a particular colour was.
That's really interesting, actually. One, two below. Not his best effort there, so it's absolutely vital for Haas to get something going here. 4 to the 5 is a bit tricky. I don't believe the 5 passes the 7 into the bottom corner, but it might. If it doesn't, maybe he'll have to use some high inside and come across and try to nick the 5 and create a little space. Let's see. But he has to get something going here. Doesn't quite come in, and he'll have to thin the 5 and try to hook him on the 6-7.
On the right road, but no pace.
Extension call.
Just to repeat, players are allowed 1 30-second extension per rack, and Ouschan's taking it here.
You know, it's almost as if Albin's a bit frustrated or a little kind of, perhaps that's reading too much into it, but just his body language, and it's almost like he wants to get this match over with, and in a way I'm sure he feels like a prohibitive favorite, to say the least.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing he doesn't want to do is take things for granted.
Right. And once again, Haas absolutely has to clear these if he wants to have any chance to get something going versus Albin. Well done.
All of the signs are there. It seems as though Scott Haas is being overwhelmed by the occasion.
Yeah, it's a tall order when you're in there with a world champion. Can do funny things to you, and let's see if Ouschan can kind of get dialed in and sort of produce the cueing that we've grown accustomed to seeing. Nicely played there.
Well, I must say, although I'm loath to use the word mismatch, you get the feeling this could be precisely that. It's not as though Scott Haas hasn't had his chances. He's had several of them. Hasn't taken any yet. And Albin Ouschan leads by 3 racks to 0. Welcome back to AC and the US Open at the Harrah's Resort, just off the famous boardwalk here.
Thank you, rack 4. Albin Ouschan to break.
It's a walk in the park right now for Albin Ouschan, leading by 3 racks to 0 against Scott Haas. Haas has missed just too many balls to place his famous Austrian opponent under any meaningful pressure.
Lovely break there from Ouschan. Wing ball flies in. Almost made the 9. Nice position on the 1. The 6 to the 8 looks like the the issue that needs to be navigated with this rack. See how he handles that. He'll want to leave himself an angle on the 6 to come across for the 8, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Comes around to play the 3 on the side. Nicely done. Start thinking about where he wants to leave himself on the 5 to play position for the 6 in a way that suits him. Gives himself a bit of an angle to work with. He could play the 6 where he just played the 4, or perhaps just draw straight back, cheating the pocket a hair to play the 6 in the bottom. Let's see. This is actually quite difficult, the 6 to the 8 situation. Not only do you need to leave yourself an angle, but the 6 will be a tester of some sorts if he has to play it upstairs. And if he wants to play it in the bottom corner pocket, this is a little bit devilish as far as controlling the cue ball. That was a great shot. Came 1-2 around with just a touch of inside to flatten the angle out. And leaves himself just perfect. He'll want to leave an angle on the 8 as well to pull the cue ball back for the 9. Maybe a touch thin. He doesn't love it. But he should be able to apply a little bit of low left to the cue ball. Draw 1-2 across for the 9. Nicely done.
Well, this has been a much improved rack. It really has.
Perhaps a return to form of sorts, Phil.
Yeah, well, he needed it for his own confidence, for his own self-belief that was perhaps waning just a degree, because he didn't play well in the first 3 racks, even though he's totally in control of the match. Now at 4-0, though, you get the feeling we're going to see some pretty good stuff from Albin Ouschan going forward. Got some other results for you. Barham Lotfi and Mickey Kraus have completed a Danish double by the same score, 9-3. They've recorded victories over Barry West and Carlin Sanderson, respectively. Billy Thorpe was given one almighty scare before coming through 9-8 against Raymond Linares. Naoki Oi, that great character. We're looking forward to his interviews this week. He beat David Dyer 9-4. And Dennis Grabber from Estonia. He's very intense. He's a really good player. He wants to do well so badly. He's beaten a fine player from the United States called Tony Robles 9-6.
Rack 5. Albin Ouschan to break, leading 4 racks to.
So it looks like Albin has found some form on the break. Let's see if he can make that pink 5 in the bottom left. Pink 5 does find a home. Position on the 1, so maybe he's sorted out some early breaking woes. And let's see how he handles this 3-8. Touch tied up. He might be able to pocket the 1, go to the bottom rail below the 2, and then contact the 3, creating some space from the 8 ball to then play position on it. And one of the pockets. Looking at it now. Yeah, he was trying to just miss the 2 and go into the 3 with some force to break up the 3-8, but contacted the 2 on the way out. And let's see what he comes with here. I think he might use the 3-8 to snooker Scott. If he can't squeak by the 9 and contact the 2, this kick is actually a touch tricky on the new cloth, where it has a tendency to slide and go long. Easy to miss the ball here and go underneath. That's nicely played there.
Some shouting going on from one of the outside tables.
Our first altercation of the tournament, perhaps, or
Extension, please.
It might have been just a celebratory shout, but it certainly got the attention. Certainly got the attention of Albin Ouschan.
Little tricky. He'd like to kick the 2 underneath the 8 and leave Scott hooked on the 8, but it's a bit dicey to try to squeeze it through there. Such a narrow window. Looks like he's put the bridge away, and now maybe he's just kicking to the long rail. Tried to just miss the 3 on the way out to leave him hooked, but didn't. And Scott, at the very least, will have a pretty manageable safety. He's looking to see if it goes past the 8 to play it in the top left.
Yeah, Ouschan is going here from trouble to potentially deeper trouble.
Doesn't quite get there. That's a little bit too much air to leave Ouschan when he was so close to his work. And although when they cut to that close-up, perhaps he can't kick to the long rail. And if he can't, he's actually in a lot of trouble. I thought that he could just kick to the long rail, contact the 2, but maybe he's trying to tie up the balls.
Pass up. Point. Start the clock, please.
Yes, if you're a snooker fan and you're jarred by that, intentional foul shots are allowed in 9-ball pool.
Right. Not exactly sure what he was trying to do there, though. If he was trying to roll the 3 just on the rail to put it in a sort of precarious spot where it isn't easy to pocket, I don't know. Generally, if you're going to take a foul intentionally, you want to accomplish something to tie up a ball and so on, because the player with ball in hand has a tremendous amount of initiative to leave you in a bad spot. But he sort of lackadaisically just kind of rolled the 3 and left it right in front of the side. So I'm not sure what that was all about. Nicely done from Haas. Let's see what Albin comes with here. So Scott wins the safety battle of sorts. It looks pretty natural to use high ball and just come out to just below center table for the 3 in the side. Of course, this shot is a bit tricky off of the rail with the entire pool table to travel across, but manageable. nicks the 6, but should be okay. The 6 cooperates and hangs up in front of the side nicely. There's 3 rails around. He'll want a little bit space off of that rail. Just settles, and he has an angle, so he should be okay to pocket the 5, play the 6 in the side. A little bit of a tester off of the rail here. And he overcuts it. And it looks like 5-0 Ouschan is imminent.
Well, I'm afraid this has already got an aura of inevitability about it. No mistake on the 9 ball this time. Albin Ouschan continues his steady progress with no real resistance. He leads by 5 racks to 0, and very quickly he's more than halfway to a place in the next round.
Are they on break?
So comfortable start for Albin Ouschan, the reigning world champion, 5 racks to 0 in front. Carl, let's go through some of the matches so far. Many of the big names, say day 1, winning so far.
Early days, it's round 1, but no shocks as of yet.
Judd Trump later this afternoon, and you, of course, not far off. How are you feeling?
I'm not feeling too good, but I'm sure Judd will be all right. Yeah, and everyone, obviously, in the arena excited to see how Judd gets on in his first pool tournament.
Albin looking good so far. Joshua Filler looking very good so far. Billy Thorpe through. Jason Shaw through. Is the key sometimes for some of these players to spend some time in America, because a lot of them have been involved in some 10-ball tournaments recently as well?
Yeah, obviously you want to get onto a bit of a rhythm and you know, get used to the conditions. First round's always a little bit difficult, and once you get that out of the way, you can relax and then kick on.
Brilliant. Well, Albin Ouschan, comfortable so far. He leaves 5 racks to 0.
One significant result for you. Chang Junlin from Chinese Taipei has come through quite comfortably. He's beaten Walid Hasham by 9 racks to 3. There you can see all of the results coming in, and boy, there are plenty of them. If you weren't with us at the start, I'll just repeat a few more numbers for you. 256 players started from all over the world in this US Open. Today alone, well, it's the busiest day of the entire tournament. By the end of it, 192 matches will be completed, over 33 tables in this vast arena. But of course, we're concentrating on the main match table. We're concentrating on the big boys. We've already seen Joshua Filler come through 9-2 against Joseph Bleiler. And now, Albin Ouschan, numerically at least, could win even more comfortably against Scott Haas. Especially if his break continues to work like that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a work of art there. See, the corner ball went in, the 1 in the side, and then the 7 followed the 1 in. So, I mean, corner ball and the 1 in the side is ideal. It's a little bit tricky. He might have to play a carom shot where he draws off of the left side of the 2 to try to pocket the pink 4 ball in the corner, although it might be a little bit too high up. These are tight pockets where it can bobble if you hit it too full and hit it into the point. I think that is what he's trying. Need to use a little bit of backspin here. Oh, excuse me, that was nicely played, although coming precariously close to his work, but he hit the 2 thickly into the top rail and then off of the 5. As we see, he's a bit frozen in time there. A little bit displeased to come up so close, and he'll have to play a safety here of some sort.
Interesting scoreline on table 31, where Pia Filler, the wife of Joshua Filler, the defending champion, has shared the first 4 racks with Daniel Klockenbach.
You've navigated some difficult last names with ease, Phil, you know?
Well, there's one match at the top of the scoreboard, you know, that I've been frightened to actually read out, and I'm going to do it for my own sanity because it's a real test. Ronaldo Den Dariarina has beaten Guillermo Beramendi by 9 racks to 5. Get in there.
Speaking of a test, Haas, I believe, is hooked here behind the 8. He might have a shred of the 3. I don't think he has enough to pocket it. Yeah, he'll either have to jack up and try to curve around the 8 or kick to the rail where he was just resting his cue. I think for this shot we want to use some speed and just create a little action after hitting the 3. Comes with a soft sort of stroke and fortunately leaves Albin a look into the corner.
Yeah, what should have been a really good experience for Scott Haas is now turning into something of an ordeal. He's thinking, please, please get a rack on the board.
That's beautifully executed there. Slices the 3 in and comes 1, 2, 3 just ever so slightly off of the top rail with the appropriate spin. As a bit of a tester here as well, but really, really classy shot on the 3. He's trying to decide if he can miss the 6, come below it, or draw above it. He's just able to stun it out to center table. Nicely done there from Albin.
And that was really subtle, just the use of check side to give him this angle on the 8 ball. And now those early concentration lapses almost certainly a thing of the past.
Albin Ouschan wins the rack.
Well, you know, in the world of boxing, which is very famous in Atlantic City, they say, don't they, quite often between 2 unbeaten fighters, the O must go. But for Scott Haas, maybe the O won't go. Right now, Albin Ouschan is in total command because he leads by 6 racks to 0. All of the evidence suggests we could be heading for our first whitewash here on the main match table at the US Open on day one in Atlantic City. And that's because Albin Ouschan has taken a 6-0 lead over Scott Haas. The worst thing for Haas, on several occasions he's had chances but missed balls, and never more so than when he missed 2 9-balls in the second rack.
Yeah, and it seems like when you make unforced errors versus these sorts of players in Ouschan, this starts to happen where they break, get shots, so on. Really gets away from you when you give these guys chances. It does look like Albin really solved the break as well. Those first 2 were rough, but you don't win world championships without having an exemplary break, and seems to have found his form in that department. 2 to the 3 is a little dicey. Let's see.
Now Jason Shaw, one of Albin Ouschan's regular Mosconi Cup teammates for Europe, was supposed to be joining us in commentary. He will be here in a few moments, no doubt, but not here yet.
Beautiful. Nicely played there. Will just miss the 7. Get himself position on the 3. 5 to the 6 is a bit tricky. The 6 doesn't go by the 7 in the corner which he stands, so he'll have to give himself some sort of an angle to play the 6, either in the top corner or one of the sides.
Talking about the Mosconi Cup, Chris Reinholdt, formerly Chris Robinson, who played in the US Mosconi Cup team last year, he's completed a 9-0 whitewash of Kyle Coleman.
Perhaps a touch awkward here for Albin, but shouldn't be too much of an issue. Pinches it over to play the 7 in the side. Nicely done there.
Nick, when he missed the 9-ball in the second rack, the very easy 9-ball to the bottom right-hand pocket, I was wondering whether he might be susceptible to an upset, but all of those thoughts have now completely been dispelled.
Yes, they have, and a slick little shot there, drawing 3 rails around. Kind of let his stroke out. Well done.
It really is one-way traffic. Albin Ouschan now 7-0 up on Scott Haas, just 2 racks away from victory and reaching the first winners round, where I can tell you Jason Shaw already is. And Jason's also now in the commentary box. Welcome.
How you doing, Phil?
So you lost the first couple of racks, but thereafter started to get into your stride.
Yeah, I started off with a dry break and left the guy a 1-9 combo. So wasn't the best of starts. and then he broke and run the next game. So I was thinking, okay, what's gonna go on this match? But yeah, I got going, and then from 3 each, I run a 6-pack to finish the match off.
Very nice indeed. Esteban Robles was your opponent from Costa Rica. Have you ever crossed paths before?
I've never played him, but he messaged me as soon as he found out the draw, and he was saying, I can't believe I'm playing you first round, and I can't believe that I didn't draw someone else. I said, just enjoy it, it's not a lot of times you get to play top players in the first round of a big tournament, so you just had to enjoy yourself and not put too much pressure on him.
Just enjoy it, and then you run a 6-pack. Nice.
Yeah, he was throwing his hands up. He kept saying, why can't I get back to the table? So, yeah, he's a nice guy. Albin seems to be playing really well in this match, 7-0.
He got off to a little bit of a shaky start, but he's found it. What's your approach to the break here, Jason, speed-wise? Are you kind of on the harder side of... It looked like Filler was breaking a little bit softer than Albin is.
I actually was watching a lot of Albin previously at the World Championships when he won, and he had the break kind of down. So I've been working on it a little bit. Where the cue ball is now on the table, that's where you kind of want the cue ball, trying to play it with a little bit of left spin to try and bring the one round, 3 rails, and Albin's kind of showed you there that's what you want to be doing. I think hitting it a little bit softer sometimes you might not get away with soft break. The ref might pull you, so I'm not taking any chances. I'm putting a little bit extra speed on it, and I'm sure a lot of other players will start doing the same.
Nice.
I'll tell you what, we're seeing some one-sided scorelines today. Wu Kun Lin from Chinese Taipei, who won the Las Vegas Open recently, has just gone 8-0 up on Wilfredo Albe. So whitewashes in a race to 9. You wouldn't think they would be very prevalent, but we're seeing quite a lot of them.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more racks run this week. There's going to be a lot of players putting some packages together, even though the pockets are tighter. I feel this time around a lot of people have learned more from the last couple of tournaments with the break and try and control the one ball a little bit. So I feel like as the tournament goes on, you're going to see a lot of big wins like 9-1, 9-2.
Have you ever run the set out in something like this? Win the lag and good game?
I believe in one turn, I think it might have been Turn and Stone. I think I played Mika and I won 9-0 in like 22 minutes. Yeah, it can be done, especially with the level of pool being played nowadays.
Well, speaking of 9-0, Phil, Haas precariously close to the unfortunate first round schneid. 8-0 for Ouschan. Really found his stride here.
He is, and of course with the winner's break, there doesn't seem any relief for these guys when they go well behind. Ouschan just 1 rack away from making what numerically at least is the perfect start. Tell you what though, Jason, as a former winner of this in 2017, it must fill your heart with gladness that the tournament's back, because there's nothing like pool in America. It's the heartland, the traditional place where the game is played.
Yeah, this is definitely my favourite event. I played in this event first time in 2006, and I think I've only missed it 1 year from there. And every time I go to this event, it just seems like it's real. You know, everything's set up for the players. The way the arena looks, the way everything's done, it's professional, and when you show up, you feel like you're being really looked after, and everything's perfect. So I enjoy this tournament, and I'm sure a lot of the players do too.
And after the pandemic put paid to last year's event, I think Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yep.
The ball got away from him slightly there.
Yeah, he didn't pop that one. It kind of hit low on the cue ball, kind of drawn away from the one. He's got a shot though. Still fancy him to make this, and you know it's going to be tough to get on the 2. He's going to have to either roll it in or go forward 2 rails out past the 9. I like rolling it though.
He's looking at it now.
Yeah, I think just roll it in and leave the cue ball down at the first diamond on the side rail.
Just kind of accept it.
Yeah, just take what you can get. I don't think trying to force this ball and, you know, do something crazy. Just take what you can get, the 2 balls. It's kind of an easy shot if you just roll this in.
Looks like Albin agrees. Well done.
Yeah, he's got a good touch. I like when he's like rolling balls full length. He doesn't really miss a lot of those balls.
He has just under a full pocket here. No real concerns. Have to be mindful of the 6, but handles it nicely. And this looks like all she wrote, boys.
Yeah, he's just overdone that one, but I can't see too many problems here. I think he'll take this on the side and come back down for the 6 ball in the corner. I wouldn't try and come all the way back down. I think pinching it and coming across to the left-hand side of the table. He could shoot it in the corner too.
Extension, please.
I like the side pocket here, Nick. Just draw a little bit over to the left side and shoot the 6 long.
Yeah. It's kind of weighing the nuance of the angle, but
playing it in the corner.
I guess he thought it was just a hair steep. Maybe it was a little steeper than it looked on screen.
Nice stroke on that ball
Yeah.
there.
You probably didn't see it, Jason, but in the second rack, Albin missed the 9 ball to the bottom right-hand pocket. You wouldn't believe he missed it.
Kind of a hanger. He sort of let it stroke out, kind of hit it a little hard, you know, and just
Okay.
bobbled it.
Maybe he took it thinking he wasn't going to miss it. Maybe took it for granted
Something
a little
like
bit.
that. Do you have a preference here, Jason? Are we pulling it back for the 7 on the side, or I guess
Yeah,
it's
I
angle
think-
dependent?
I think there.
This
That
might
shot,
be a touch awkward.
Yeah, I think that shot there, I might have punched it out to the middle
Yeah.
of the table, gone forward. This way, he's still good. He can stun this ball up for the 8. I don't think he's gonna go forward. But he is.
You know, the point I was
Nicely done
making.
there.
The point I was making is that he missed that 9 ball, and generally in the first 3 racks, really, he didn't look at all in the game. But since then, he's got right into it, and he looks his usual formidable self.
Good touch there. And the unfortunate 9-0 seems to be sliding in for Mr. Haas. These sorts of things happen playing world champions.
Nice win there for Albin.
Right, and match. Albin Ouschan.
Indeed, it was. You know, there we're going from hero, Albin Ouschan, to 0, Scott Haas. Haas was not great, Scott, one has to say. It was a pretty poor performance. He missed a lot of balls, particularly early on. But as the contest progressed, you have to say, Albin Ouschan showed his true credentials, i.e. he's a bona fide candidate to go away with the lot here, the $50,000 first prize. He defeats Scott Haas in a really good start for him to this tournament by the widest possible margin.
confident, and it just shows you how to be a world champion. A very comfortable start for Albin Ouschan against Scott Haas. A very, very good performance. Plenty of top players here at the Harrah's Resort, Atlantic City, but one of the best in the world. The current 9-ball world champions here. Albin, many congratulations. How was that for you?
Very rough start, to be honest. I was shaking a lot. The back arm was quite stiff. Missed the 9-ball, I think, in the second rack. And he had his chances in the beginning. He could have went a different way, but well, unfortunately for him, he missed 2-3 shots in a row, and that gave me the chance to get in stroke, feel a little bit more better on the table, feel the speed more, and I think the last 2 or 3 I ran out. So very good feeling in the end, but rough start.
Rough start. What was the reason for the rough start?
Well, of course, I mean, it's a long time ago since we played in front of a crowd, you know. I mean, the last time was the World Championships, which is already like 2 or 3 months ago. Of course, didn't play with shot clock for quite a long time now. So all that together gave me a little bit of goosebumps and made me nervous.
So even the best get nervous. But it's interesting, Albin, isn't it? Because we're over here in the US. I mean, I flew on Saturday. Like, everyone gets a bit of jet lag. So tell us, for the top players, I mean, you've been here for a few weeks. It's important to get acclimatized to the time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm struggling a lot in the past with the American jet lag. Always like the first tournament. I hope. Well, I'm glad that we got 3 tournaments now, so I could get a little bit better and better after every tournament, because the first tournament I was just feeling weak, you know. I was not 100% there on the table, so I'm ready now. I'm really feeling good. I'm sleeping well, you know. That's always the worst part in the first couple of days and weeks, so I'm feeling good now.
And the difficulty as well is we have 256 players. I mean, we know so many of them, but there's not so many we don't know. And this is the unknown for you and Josh Filler. You don't know these players.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he comes to the table. He played some good shots in the practice, in 2 minutes for practice. Then he made some great kick shots in the first rack and in the match. So it's sometimes like a coin flip, you know. You have no clue what your opponent can do on the table. So, well, he made some errors, and that helped me, of course.
You showed your class in the end, Albin. Go and get some well-deserved rest. That's Albin Ouschan there. A win today, a comfortable win in the end, and that's why he's the 2021 World Champion. Let's have a look at today's order of play then. Plenty to look at. Joshua Filler there, 9-2 win. The current US Open champion beats Joseph Blair 9 racks to 2, and as you see there,